Hey, today's shave is going to be with the same razor as yesterday. The kind of clunky looking, slippery if it's soapy, bronze version of the timeless razor. And it's the .38, the only version they have currently with the solid bar. And I really got a great shave with it yesterday with an Astra Superior Platinum blade. Today we're going to put a PolSilver in it that has about 13 shaves on it already. It's been a good blade for me across a good many razors, and so I'm expecting good things, but we'll just see. The brush is a Boar brush, but this is not in my current Boarathon lineup. This one's been used about 42 times, so he's pretty well broken in. I mean, he's definitely got some tips that could still split, so he's got some ways to go. But he's pretty well broken in. He's a whipped dog Boar knot, and I used him back in August of last year, austere August, where I used the same setup the whole month, and so, but he's not part of my rotation. My current Boarathon includes about 4 Simogs, a Sterling Boar, a Zenith B10, and a Omega. An Omega 10098, and so those are the ones that are about 10 uses each. I'm growing those up and watching the changes, and it's pretty neat. This was a very enjoyable brush that I used last year. I haven't really returned to it too much. And someone asked a question online, YouTube comment, said, "Hey, how does that whipped dog Boar compare to the Simogs and the other brushes that you're using?" So I said, hey, let's use it again and we'll see. So this guy has been soaking for an hour or so. He doesn't really need that because he's nicely broken in. I just did it kind of out of habit. The soap we're going to use, let's see, did I already tell you that PolSilver was the blade I'm going to use? It's got 13 uses. Can't remember. Sunday Funday by Dr Jons. He, in his lab, decides to put together something fun, and it's going to release it as a kind of a limited edition basis, just just to have general artwork. Writes the custom name down here. A couple of them have taken off into more permanent offerings, but this is the newest one. I got it today. Burning Bay. As you might guess, it's a bay rum type scent, but he's added some burning or some deep smoky elements to it, and that you definitely can smell both of those sides to it. I tell you what, I got it and I couldn't even get the lid off. I had to take a couple of rubber bands and put one around the top lid and one around the base to be able to get it finally open. All right, so let's try this guy out. If a bay rum has a lot of clove and stuff, then I usually don't like it, but I love Dr. Jons' base, and so let's give it a shot. I'm going to put the blade in the razor, and then I'm going to wet my face before we start lathering up. All right, we are a go. Let's go ahead and do the usual shake, and shake most of the water out. This is my method. Online, there's some guys doing the Marco method. I want to share that with you, where you just have a soppy, wet brush and you go at it. Maybe it's a certain number of swirls. I can't remember the exact method. I think it's a Badger and Blade forum entry that kind of tells about the method. It may not be Badger and Blade. It may be Damn Fine Shave. I'm not exactly sure. But it does sometimes get a little messy with soap frothing over and dropping into the sink. Some people recommend ignoring the stuff that drops down because it's a little too light to use anyway. Just use what sticks to your brush. Then take that soppy, wet, sudsy and start to face lather. And people are liking it a lot. You may want to give it a try sometime. Pretty fun. All right. As for me, I'll keep bowl lathering. All right, so like I said, pretty wet, brand new puck. And let's do a 30-second load, and we'll start at the 50 count, so we'll stop at 20. I think it's a great idea to work on combining bay rum with something like a really smoky scent. So really cool. I'm really glad that he did this. It'll be fun to try out. Okay, that's 20 seconds. And 30. All right. So that is what 30-second load looks like on this particular brush. Now I'm going to rinse out the puck here. All right. See, 3D printed bowl. If you have a printer, you can check the link in the description, get a hold of those files. Work it for just a little bit, and then we'll add some water. Go ahead and add a whole teaspoon. These are pretty cheap handles right here. You can get them from DS Cosmetics. I like to get mine from AliExpress.com and just look for DS Cosmetics, and you'll see a picture of this one with about 4 others with different colors. And so you can just pick the color you want. And I find it really ergonomic and inexpensive. I think they're just $8. That's terrific. And it's a nice, pretty resin. Sometimes they mix these counter colors in there, and I wish they'd kind of stick with a color scheme that is on one side of the color wheel, like just dark colors or, you know, something like that. But I find it, especially the blue one. Oh yeah, see, this is the kind of the purpley one. The blue one I like especially. I've got it right here. You just can't beat it for the price, and they're for 24mm knots. Go ahead and add the rest. Makes it 2 teaspoons of water in the lather. In the write-up for the scent, Dr. Jons said that, yeah, it may be kind of a smoky bay rum, or maybe it smells like a really peaty glass of whiskey, glass of Irish whiskey. So you decide, you be the judge. As usual, the lather is looking really good from Dr. Jons. This particular boar knot, when it's dry, it is firm. Lots of backbone. It feels like a broom. But get it wet and put it on your face, and it's very nice. Unless all of a sudden it's changed after sitting on the shelf for a few months. But I doubt it. There we go. A little bit more water. Just a half teaspoon at a time now. Yep, as usual, Dr. Jons' lather just looks terrific. creamy. Let's take a little finger sample here. Yep, let's go with that. Now I happen to go ahead and grab a bristle. I'm not really worried about this guy losing bristles. Even though it's 42 uses old, that's still fine every once in a while. All right, I think I'm ready to stop mixing. Let's just put it on my face and see. A little bit of extra water on my face. Maybe I'll do the Marco method one of these days. This brush feels great. Now, he's 42 uses old, and so he's going to be softer than these young Simogs that I'm playing with right now. And so I would probably put him above the Simogs, because he's kind of like the Zenith. He's got a thicker knot, more bristles, but that's also more softness to put on your face. Now take a look at this right here. Kind of got a little bit of pitting and bumping and things like that. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the situation. Slight disadvantage with switching soaps as often as I do. One day I'm going to learn to be more faithful about checking my notes to see how much water I like with certain... Where did that soap glob go? It shot off. Who knows where. I could cheat and look at my past notes, you know, and then maybe I wouldn't have to adjust for water quite so much. Oh man, this brush is just super comfy. But it's not a fair comparison since it's been used more times. But I do like it better than my Simog Owners Club. It's doesn't splay quite as much. Kind of just stays on task maybe a little better. It's really funny because the Owners Club is definitely got a bigger name for itself, and it should. It's a good brush. All right. That lather feels great on the face. Dang it, the scent is just not too strong. Well, this PolSilver. That is nice. Nice cutter. Very comfortable. Barely feel it in terms of blade feel. And the way this head lines up the blade, I have not had any problems at all with having to adjust it. It's pretty much perfect, so that's nice. You don't have to take that time to make sure that it's aligned properly. This looks like another good blade to use with this one, for me at least. You know, everybody's different. It's okay for the handle to get wet. I still find that I have a great grip on it. But if it gets wet and soapy, then in my opinion, it's a little bit dangerous. So you definitely go and rinse that off quickly. Speaking of rinsing, let me do that. All right. Load up the brush again. I find that this brush can You know, I used it for Williams soap, and so even though it is comfortable and wonderfully soft, it does not have a problem stirring up and building you a good lather from a hard soap. Now also remember that a blade is going to be subjective. That's pretty common knowledge. But know that subjectivity includes the razors as well. So you may have a razor that you like, and maybe the Gillette Silver Blue is your favorite blade with it. Maybe the PolSilver, maybe a second, but it's really good, but you just kind of like the GSB a little better. Well, you may get a new razor, comes along and changes that whole paradigm. You don't change anything about your technique, but that razor just likes a different blade better for your skin, and so that can definitely change as things go. And let me rinse. All right, let's start up that third pass. Show you what the lather looks like. Now if you compare this look to the early ones I showed you, see how smooth it is? That's what I like to head towards. Instead of having more texture to it and waves and that kind of thing, I find that if it's smoother, when it smooths out, that's because that water has gotten in and given you some nice elasticity, and so it's a great something to look for and act as a little guide to tell you when to stop adding water. Find where you like it. I'm sure these bore knots that he uses at Whip Dog, I'm sure he gets them from a Chinese OEM, maker that probably somebody else uses too. But I like it. Very nice and very inexpensive. So this, especially this example, this is maybe even a $6 handle from AliExpress, maybe a $10 knot, maybe 12. And so that's an inexpensive brush that is really comfortable and enjoyable. Yeah, lather looks great. Really happy with that. It is lightly available to me during the shave. And so it's not going to offend because it's too faint. And it's almost like the bay rum and the smokiness are combining to almost smell like something weird and not the two things. Like Barrister and Mann came out with Eventide, and it turned out to smell like Copenhagen dip. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't the intention of Will, the maker. Maybe it was. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of those things where, holy cow, it really does smell like that. Wonderfully comfortable shave here. using some different angles, and everything's going really well. Looks like I've got a good cut going so far. It's pretty quick in terms of rinsing the razor, and that's always nice. It does have close tolerances, so it's not as fast as some others. But it's all right, not a big deal at all. It's still fast enough for me, and yeah, happy joy. Final rinse. Yep, just like I thought, a really nice close cut. Right here in my trouble spot area, I see just the tips, but no length on the tips, which is good, about as good as I'm going to get since I can't go against the grain. The scent, unfortunately, yeah, I think it's going to be a little too low for me. It's just so light. I think it's going to be like a 3 to 4 out of 10. And for my nose, it's really more like a 3, but there might be some people out there who pick it up a little stronger. Maybe I've got congestion issues or something like that. And so that's why I usually say 3 to 4, something to something, so that we kind of cover the bases there in case somebody's got a nice sniffer. I used 2.5 teaspoons of water. Probably should have used 3 for this. And looks like the mix was pretty good in terms of quantity. 30 seconds of loading looks about right, because I've got, about 2 passes, a little bit of margin left over here. Man, that's a nice lather. The rinses weren't super creamy. They weren't greatly creamy, but they were enjoyable, and I do like his base. It's a good performer. Excellent slickness throughout, with a nice glide for the razor. So again, really happy. It is a vegan soap, if that's important to you. I don't really care. I just care that it's good, and it is to me. I was kind of headed to maybe Grog by Tallow and Steel for the aftershave product, because it's kind of got some similar notes. But then I came across my Seville in reserve and remembered how I really enjoy that, so that he voted the other one out of office. And yeah, it does seem to be a fairly complementary scent. I don't think there are too many common elements. I just think they kind of go together, especially when the soap is that light. Kind of go with anything. All right. Yeah, it's an enjoyable post-shave product right there. Well, I'm going to clean up. I've showed you the soap, the water. There we go. Maybe part of the reason I like this Boar so much is it probably has a little shorter loft than some of the Samog brushes, and it's thicker, and so that but the backbone, it's a medium in terms of backbone, and so these tips just flex and move around, and there's lots of them, and so I think that contributes to that feel by distributing the pressure and just being comfortable in general. And so the fact that I know that I didn't drill this any deeper. I just took the bore knot, put it in. I can't remember if I used a spacer or not, but this does look like it's set just a hair deeper than definitely the Sterling bore, definitely that big tall Omega that I've been using, and probably also a little deeper than the Zenith that I have. And so I think that's really helping to keep these bristles in a good place. So I think I just stumbled into getting that one right, but it's a great brush. Really enjoy it. And so to me, I currently like this a little better than those Samogs I've been trying out, and I like them a lot. This is more akin to what I'm enjoying about the Zenith. It's just a nice thick knot and medium backbone and great soft tips. Super comfortable. No prickliness at all, and just comfortable tips, nice massaging action, able to work up a lather off of a hard soap as well as anything else. Well, there we go, an excellent shave. Everything's cleaned up. The PolSilver worked really well for me, and it was on its now it's its 14th use, so it's very nice. and enjoyable. The soap, while as usual great performance, I would be happy with it if I didn't have any money and that's the only soap I had, because it does provide a little bit of scent, but there are just too many great options out there with that let me enjoy the scent more with a little bit more strength. And so I think I'm gonna have to put this on the to sell list. But I like his idea, and I like adding smokiness to things especially. So I commend him for that. And I think we're good. Very good. So I hope there was something here for you to help you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care. Good night.